Have you ever wondered why certain shapes seem to stir something deep within you? Why a spiraled shell, a snowflake, or even the pattern of a flower feels strangely familiar, as if it's something inside you recognizes it? What if I told you that these shapes are not random at all? What if the same patterns that build galaxies form your body and grow the plants in your garden are actually the language the universe uses to create life itself? This language is called sacred geometry, and once you begin to see it, you could never unsee it. Because sacred geometry isn't just art, it's the blueprint of creation. So think about this for a moment. Have you ever looked at a sunflower and noticed how perfectly its seeds spiral outward, or watched water ripple into perfect circles? Or noticed how snowflakes can form intricate geometric patterns? These patterns appear everywhere in nature, and yet we rarely stop to ask why. Most of us move through life thinking the world is chaotic, but the deeper truth is something much more beautiful. Creation is not chaos. Creation is order expressed through pattern, and those patterns are sacred geometry. The reason sacred geometry feels mystical or powerful when we see it is because it reflects the patterns that exist within us. Your body, your DNA, even the rhythm of your heartbeat, all follow geometric order, which means sacred geometry isn't something outside of you, it's something that you were made of. You see, sacred geometry is the architecture of creation. At its core, sacred geometry is the mathematical structure underlining all life. Everything in existence forms through pattern. Atoms form molecules, form cells, and cells form living beings. And when we zoom out, planets form solar systems form galaxies. So across every scale of existence, we see the same thing: order expressed through geometric pattern. Ancient civilizations understood this deeply. They saw geometry not as dry mathematics, but as the divine intelligence shaping reality. This is why sacred geometry appears in temples, pyramids, cathedrals, and spiritual art across the world, because geometry was seen as the fingerprint of the divine. You see, geometry is the bridge between heaven and earth. Sacred geometry is often described as the meeting place between spirit and matter. Spirit is invisible and matter is visible. But geometry is what translates the unseen into the seen. So think of it like a blueprint. Before a building exists physically, it exists as a design. Sacred geometry works the same way. It is the design behind physical reality. The patterns that we see in nature are simply the visible expression of invisible order. This is why sacred geometry is sometimes called the language of creation, because certain shapes carry universal meaning. Some geometric forms appear repeatedly throughout nature and spiritual traditions. For example, the circle represents unity and wholeness, and the triangle represents balance between three forces, often mind, body, and spirit. And the spiral represents growth, evolution, and expansion. And patterns like the flower, like geometric forms found in nature, reflect how life unfolds outward from a central source. So these shapes appear not because humans invented them, but because nature itself is built from them. You see, sacred geometry exists inside of you. One of the most powerful realizations is that sacred geometry is not just something we observe. It is something that we embody. So your DNA coils in a spiral pattern. Your cells divide using geometric structure, and your heartbeat follows rhythmic patterns. So even in the proportions of the human body, it reflects mathematical harmony. In other words, you are living sacred geometry. You are a walking expression of comic design. So when you begin to understand sacred geometry, something beautiful happens. You begin to see yourself not as separate from the universe, but as a fractal expression of it. So how does sacred geometry actually impact your life? Well, it starts with awareness. Begin noticing the patterns around you. Look at flowers, study the spirals of shells, watch the symmetry of leaves. Observe how everything in nature grows outward from a center. And when you start seeing the patterns, something shifts inside of you. You begin to recognize that life is not random. There is intelligence in creation. There is design in existence. And there is purpose in the way that things unfold. You see, sacred geometry teaches us something profound. The same intelligence shaping the universe is shaping your life. Growth happens in patterns, expansion happens in cycles, and every challenge, transformation, and awakening in your life follows a deeper design. When we understand this, we stop resisting the process of life. Instead, we begin to align with it. So if this area or idea starts to resonate with you, I want to invite you to begin seeing the world through a new lens. Over the next few days, simply start noticing patterns. Look for symmetry in nature. Look for spirals. Look for repeating designs in the world around you. Because the moment you start seeing sacred geometry, you start seeing the intelligence behind creation. And once you recognize that intelligence in the universe, you begin to recognize it within yourself. In this series, we're going to explore some of the most powerful geometric patterns found throughout nature and spiritual traditions, and what they reveal about the deeper structure of reality. So if you're ready to explore the hidden architecture of creation, make sure you subscribe and join me for the next lessons in sacred geometry. Because the universe is speaking through patterns, and the more you learn to see it, the more you clearly begin to understand who you really are. And I will see you guys in the next video.